she had the wisdom of it, as only a teenager can, communicate so much in 2 words. And I said, how did it make you feel? And she said, it made me feel shit and useless. And I was like, whoa, that's gold right there. Like, what a blessing to hear that from your child.
Yeah, really amazing, isn't it? And and I suspect that, or I assume that what you're talking about in terms of the system stuff and the emotional wellness within families is helping build that capacity of parents to start taking on that feedback and
yeah,
using
it's not
it.
easy. It's multi-layered, because first the child needs the emotional literacy to be able to communicate, to feel that and be able to communicate it. And then you have to have the emotional intelligence to be able to receive it and not defend, protect, or deny it, or, go into a victim place and just go, stay open to that and see it as it's just the truth. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's often a hangover from the emotional system you grew up in as a child. And I think it's something that will always come unstuck every now and then. But if we can sit down and talk about it and own it and say we're sorry, then, I think that's the perfect parent, really. It's not about never coming unstuck. It's just a healthy, clean, accountable process. And if you have the emotional intelligence in the family and, you're good at listening to each other and you're giving positive messages, then, yeah, it's all going to turn out well connected and loving, and you're going to put kids out there in the world that have the foundation of awesome mental health and great emotional intelligence and relationship skills, and able to set boundaries, but also be able to apologize and be deeply empathetic about, when they may behave in a way that upsets other people, and know how to go about, saying sorry and kind of learning and growing as a person.
And I think some of the research stuff that's very digestible these days around attachment theory and the idea of like safe and secure environments and the impact that has on the neurobiology and the neural wiring for young people and grown-ups when we're providing that space absolutely reflects and parallels the work that you're talking about. It's invaluable.
Yeah, well, a calm, healthy, accountable, well-balanced emotional environment is the prevention of anxiety and depression.
Yeah. So within that family system, I know that, like, for me, what I might need to do is deconstruct it somewhat and have particular relationships with each of the children that's part of the broader system, but also because, one of the kids might be struggling with something in particular. Is that something that you've really noticed in your family, or have you found that by just introducing these 4 kind of pillars that it dampened, the sort of one-on-one stuff that you need to do?
Oh, look, I think they're both important.
Yeah.
Like coming together as one, as one energetic in the family, and all sitting there and practicing and doing these skills. But yeah, both of our kids are really different, and my wife Jen and myself, we're really different.
Yeah.
And so all those didactic relationships in the family, like the one I have, with everyone, and the one I have with Jen, and the one I have with Kiana, and the one I have with Corbin, and yeah, they all have their own, differences. So totally, I think the one-on-one stuff is always going to be there. But again, I think those 4 pillars enable, me to, if I come back to them, I feel like I'm on track. And it doesn't mean it's always easy, it's still challenging, but yeah, they get me through. It's like we always come back to our center and wind up in a loving, connected, positive place.
Yeah, and I imagine, that's a really valuable point. Something about being coming back to those 4 pillars means that you don't end up in your interrogator.
Totally. Well, I still do sometimes,
sure.
But after working on it really hard for 10 years or more, I'm thankfully getting somewhere with it. But
yeah.
it still pops up. But, because of the family culture, and I've made myself accountable, I can't really get away with it, because I'll get called on it straight away by the kids. And I'm like, well, thanks.
Well, that's great.
Thanks for telling me, and I can call them. We're all calling each other, and it's not a big deal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's have a break. Welcome back to the studios here. We're with Garry Thomson, the CEO of Uplifting Australia, and I'm Sean Tonne, and we're on the Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond show. Garry, Tell me a bit more about Uplifting Australia. You're obviously doing some important and valuable programs right around the country.
Yeah. Yeah, look, we have two kind of main initiatives. One, we work with whole school communities, and we train the teachers in healthy emotional environments in the classroom. And we run programs that engage parents and children together around the idea of healthy emotional well-being. We have a whole bunch of work that we've developed around that. And we've worked in, some pretty marginalised communities. We worked in Western Sydney, in Western Parramatta. We're working in a school out there which has about 800 students from all types of socio-economic backgrounds and different religious beliefs. And we're working in Canberra, northern New South Wales, Tamworth. And what we find is there seems to be this universal acceptance of sitting down and listening to your children and giving good messages and developing emotional literacy and being accountable. People seem to understand that. So yeah, it's going really well. We're getting amazing feedback, and the schools are really happy because their parent engagement has really picked up, and there's just more buzz around the school. But we've been working with Deloitte as well. They've been giving us a lot of pro bono. Actually recruited a chair for our board who's a senior partner at Deloitte. So we've developed a strategy to 2025. And if we want this to be a normal part of Australian society, we've recognised that we're not going to achieve that by working with schools. So we're going to need about $30 million a year and employ 200 or 300 people. And, I really don't want to do that. So we've developed a digital strategy. So we're working with a tech builder in Sydney, and we're going to be launching the Aussie Family Check-in in February. And then we're hoping that we're going to get 20,000 families go through that and access the tools. So that will enable us to talk about what we've discovered and then go and get some investment to bring out version 2 of that, which will be an interactive technology build that families can do together. And we're working closely with the School of Positive Psychology, and we've got some great backers, some of Australia's biggest companies and some philanthropists. But we're always on the lookout for more funding, being a not-for-profit.
Yeah.
So things are exciting at the moment. I've met a lot of cool people this year and, done some amazing work.
Yeah, really, really incredible and wonderful and important. And I think that idea of being able to bring this online and make it something that's accessible to everybody is so important.
Yeah, well, that's what Professor Lindsay Oates is really excited about, trying to move away from a model where, families have to go external to themselves and access professionals to solve a problem, instead of saying, well, no, let's empower families to and disrupt the way they're functioning to make emotional well-being a have-to-have. And then we can prevent so many families from needing to fix problems down the track, because they'll have the capacity and they'll have the cultural environment where they'll be able to self-regulate and, deal with their own challenges in a really healthy way. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, makes sense to me too. It's really wonderful, Garry, and I want to congratulate you on the amazing work that you've been doing.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Yeah.
I guess we just think that within every child is the seed of a emotionally healthy and happy and successful future adult that really needs and deserves a healthy emotional environment so that they can flourish. And in saying that, I mean, I know I did, and pretty much everyone I know grew up not with that, and have gone on a personal development journey to overcome it. So it's not like you can't live without it, but imagine actually growing up where that's just a normal part of your family, and you go out into the world with those skills. I think we're going to have a kinder, more productive society, and different kind of leaders coming through, and with different values and different ethics, and a greater capacity to communicate through the heart, and make intelligent decisions that affect everybody.
Yeah.
Not be reactionary or ego-driven or trying to prove a point or having unhealthy power dynamics, with everybody around you, because it's like you're still grappling with power because your emotional system let you down.
Yeah, that's right. And what I imagine is so possible in this idea is that it's not just changing family, it's changing community, and it's changing culture.
Yeah.
It's changing countries.
The next generation is kind of, we all come with a certain capability.
Yeah.
We've seen lots of different types of revolutions, and I think we're on the cusp of the emotional intelligence revolution.
Yeah.
And, without it, I think we're in trouble. So it's good timing.
It's very good timing.
Yeah.
And it's just wonderful that you're here. That's good timing too, Garry. So thanks so much for being on the show. I'd love to have you back. It'd be great to get you back next year when you've launched
the Aussie Family Check-In.
Yep,
yeah,
Aussie
I'd love
Family
to.
Check-In and hear how it's all going. So, Garry, I know that we can people can come and see you at www.upliftingaustralia.org.au. Is that right?
That's right.
It's going to have all your contact details on there.
Yeah. Anyone wants to help, get in contact.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks, mate. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the episode of Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond. And special thanks to Garry, the CEO of Uplifting Australia. As we said, you can check out more information for Garry at the website. Tune in next week for more information and inspiration. And as always, if you've liked what you've heard, you can listen to more podcasts of us on iTunes or find us on the Pregnancy, Birth and Beyond Media website. Please comment in iTunes or on the podcast so others can find out about us too. See you soon.
So lost inside these pictures of you, and I am so lost, and I am so lost with all the things you do, and I am so lost, and I am so lost. And everything is turned around, it's changed my life, it's upside down, 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 down. And every day it's something new, and love is grand, and loving you, you. Feel off center, and I feel off track.